Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Modern Gamer Podcast, where we talk about how we balance gaming, real life obligations, and all the mix in between to make sure that we actually get some time to game. Today, with me, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Carrie, and she is all the way from China, Hong Kong. So, welcome, Carrie.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Of course, thanks for joining. So, can you give us a brief introduction? Who is Carrie? What do you do? What are you? Who are you?
Oof, I wish I knew what I was. I'm Carrie. I was born and raised in Florida, and I went to University of Florida where I was on the fencing team, and then I taught myself programming. My major was Chinese and linguistics. Taught myself programming while I was waitressing, and then started working for a startup that got moved to New York City for an accelerator. Then moved out to Hong Kong. So I've been in Hong Kong for the last 7 years. I worked in corporate finance as a developer for trade applications in the derivative market on the trade floors for places like Deutsche Bank, Macquarie, BNP Paribas. And then I quit about a year and a half ago to go backpacking around the world, go traveling, hit a lot of my bucket list items. And about 6 months ago, I came home and realized that I needed to earn some money. So now I do freelancing for software engineering and programming. And that is my main focus right now, is to build up my business and my company.
Wow.
And I game a lot. a lot.
Wow.
Too much.
I don't think there is anything as too much, but your career thus far is really impressive. Congratulations. And having major in Chinese, I assume you also speak Chinese fluently, which is wow. That's
not
honestly really
fluently,
amazing.
but aiming for it. That's why I
Cool.
want to keep going. I travel a lot because they just opened a high-speed railroad from sort of in the middle of Hong Kong into China. It takes about 10 minutes by high-speed rail. And so I'm planning on visiting as much as I can soon and getting my Chinese better, because there's like Chinese immersion camps. So I've been to one. It was amazing. And so I would love to go back
Wow.
and get that
That
slang.
sounds great. I mean, how different is it? Was it hard for you to adjust to living in China and Hong Kong, or just overall wherever you are in Asia, compared to how we are used in the West?
I think because I lived my entire adult life really in Asia, I actually have more trouble right now for the past, I would say year. I was backpacking, and then I spent a lot of time at home in the States, and then switched back and forth between Hong Kong and the United States. I think I have more of a culture shock now going back to the States than I do living in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, I feel like a lot of things make sense. A lot of things in China make sense or operate in certain ways that make sense to me. And then I'll go back to the States, and, well, to give a pretty bad example, one of them is you can drink on the streets here. You can get into a taxi with a beer in your hand. Go back to the States. You know, my dad wants me to go with him to the store to pick up some groceries. So I grab a beer out of the fridge to get in the car. And he's like, what are you doing? You can't do that.
Because like
It's
public
just weird.
drinking, right?
Right. Stuff like that. And like, you call this land of the free. But it is. I love America. I love America a lot. It's just small things like that. Healthcare is a little bit weird to go back to. So I definitely feel as if just the way people eat, the food out here is great. I really enjoy it. But sometimes I do get really homesick. But then when I'm in the States, I get homesick for Asia. So I feel as if I have a foot in both worlds now.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool. So you said you game a lot.
Yeah.
What type of games do you play mostly?
So I would say I probably gave up. I either gave up or I expanded my childhood to World of Warcraft. When that first came out, I think I played that 5 hours a day easily. I mean, I was addicted. Loved it. And even now, sometimes I'll download World of Warcraft and play until level 20, the free version, just to relive the memory, especially as an elf, because I felt as if whenever I go there and I hear the music, or whenever I'm stressed, sometimes I listen to the music and it really calms me down and brings me back. I had a lot of friends on there, all the guilds I had. Then I would say I stopped gaming for a while because I was focused on investment banking. I was working, like 12, 16-hour days. And then during COVID lockdown, I bought the dongle that goes into your computer that moves your mouse back and forth. And I wasn't assigned that many projects, but I had to be online. And so I was online during COVID, but really I was playing Witcher. So Witcher 3 was what I spent I would say COVID lockdown was, I did all the expansion packs, every single quest you could find, I did on Witcher 3. I absolutely loved it. I had on my Instagram all these fun facts about it. And then I stopped for a while because I studied for the CFA. As a reward, I got Witcher 3. I knew it would be my downfall. I played that hardcore, and then I started backpacking, knowing I couldn't really bring. I didn't want to bring a really. I like my gaming laptops, and I want to leave that at home. But my brother and my sister-in-law for Christmas decided to get me Baldur's Gate 3, and so I actually have it on my laptop right now. I was playing it before this call, and so I'm in love with Baldur's Gate 3. I just started playing Dungeons and Dragons in person, probably a year ago, and I can't get enough of it. So Baldur's Gate 3 while I'm in Asia has been wonderful. So I usually play D&D at home with my family, or with my brother and cousins and stuff.
Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate is
so
amazing.
it's so
I don't
good.
have any words for it especially because personally I did not have chance to play Dungeons and Dragons here where I'm from. Mostly because, well, it's very hard to find a good group that's going to commit. I mean, a session of D&D can last
Yeah.
several hours and then also span into several years. So it's very hard to find a group to commit to. But Baldur's Gate 3 was my first real touch with Dungeons and Dragons. I did play Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, but Baldur's Gate just hit it differently because it opened up the D&D world to me. And whenever I speak, I have a friend of mine who was also a guest at this podcast. He is like an avid Dungeons and Dragons gamer. There are like several groups, Discords that he told me about where you can find really, really amazing communities to play with. So Baldur's Gate is definitely a game that I see myself replaying over the years to come because, let me check what type of character did I have. Okay, let's try a new character. Let's try a totally new approach.
Right.
And then overall, it's like a totally different game.
Or the Dark Urge, where you can be as evil as you want. I'm going to do that for my second run through. I want to see. I played a little bit of Fable, and I played a little bit of Darkness. And my brother and I used to play video games a lot. We used to play Halo in high school. It was our bonding game, and he always had to be the good person in the video games. And so I'm really excited. I'm playing right now as a relatively good person. I'm kind of playing as I would play Baldur's Gate, and I definitely want to do a run through where I just. Wow, I hope this is never taken out of context of this podcast. I can't wait to do a run through. I just murder everybody. just like the little orphan kid that needs help, and I'm like, no.
Nope.
I don't know. I have a dark sense of humor, and I'm curious about how far I can be dark, and if I will feel upset about it. I'm really curious about that. Because even in this run through where I'm relatively good, I'll actually go back into a previous save just to save someone's life. In some ways, so I'm excited to be able to play the Dark Urge. But yeah, I love the Baldur's Gate world is really open. I mean, I love D&D. When I play with my brother and sister-in-law and my friends back home, we have instruments, we play because our main lead is a bard, and we get dressed up, and I send them letters from Hong Kong about my D&D, because my D&D character got separated from the group in the Hells, and how my character's doing, and she's fallen in love and gotten married, and to her right-hand woman. And my next letter I'm going to send next week, I'm going to say that she's pregnant. Lord knows how, but she's pregnant. And it's just like, we have so much fun with it.
It's a miracle.
It's really fun. But like watching YouTube videos like Critical Role and stuff is really, I enjoy that as well. But yeah, Baldur's Gate, there's just something really nice about when you're working or, you have to pay bills and stuff, and you can just sort of escape into a world where when I was younger, I really wanted to be a part of the fantasy world and live in there. Now that I'm older and I think about what all the characters lived through in Witcher 3 and all the NPCs, because in all reality, we'd all be NPCs, like, they all have it really rough. Like, I'm really glad I'm not in the game.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all assume that we are the main character, but a lot of us are NPCs.
Yeah, I am okay being an NPC. I would 100% be an NPC.
True, I understand that. So, Witcher 3, World of Warcraft, Baldur's Gate. What's your favorite?
There's also, I forgot, I played a lot of Halo in high school too. But, gosh, that was, because I actually posted on the website if there'd be anyone interested in playing Halo, because I'd love to get back into it. But I would say because I just recently re-downloaded Halo, and I kind of want that for stress relief, because you don't have to. The one thing with Baldur's Gate is you sort of have to remember what's going on. There's a lot of different storylines going on. True. And sometimes I just want to shoot things. And also I hope that's not taken out of context of this podcast ever. And
of course not.
I would say out of Baldur's Gate, Witcher 3, and World of Warcraft, I would have to say Witcher 3. There's just something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the music or when you're just riding Roach and you have that beautiful vista in front of you. I just really love all of that. That's really nice. Baldur's Gate, sometimes after a long day of freelancing, I struggle to remember all the storylines. And I've like read all the wikis and
Yeah,
everything to
it's
keep track
hard.
of everything. Yeah.
True. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
with
That
Witcher.
part is really hard. It does require a sense of focus on you to really
Yeah.
follow everything, and then also remember if you are trying also to roleplay to remember, okay, what did I want to do here? Like instead of carry, but the carrying game. So
Yeah.
that definitely is a hard part. But when it comes to The Witcher 3 music, I definitely have to admit it's one of the best ever, especially because you can just put them as a background noise and do anything. It's amazing music, really. It's very
So
relaxing.
good.
And you also said, like, while you are riding horse and then you see like all the beautiful landscape and the graphics are really amazing. So it's definitely a
Yeah.
sight to behold. So looking forward to see
And
if and when Witcher 4 comes, how it's going to
I
look.
hope so. Because Geralt has gotten hotter and hotter with each Witcher series. So Witcher 1, 2, and 3. He was really ugly in Witcher 1. I didn't actually play Witcher 1, but I've seen a lot of YouTube playbacks, and yeah, I feel like yeah. Anyways, I enjoy playing hot characters. I've made all my characters in Baldur's Gate very hot as well. It's my I
Why
enjoy it.
not? Why
Why
not?
not?
I
Exactly.
make myself
For my
also
entertainment.
like muscular as possible, cool, hot as you would say. So
Yeah.
why not? I mean, it's my fantasy to live. If I had the time, and honestly, also the not just the time, but also the will to go to gym like a couple hours every day, it would be good, of course. But I don't. So I just move the slider. I'm happy.
Yeah, right. It's easier. Yeah, much easier.
It's much easier. Much easier.
Yeah.
So. How is gaming now? I mean, for you, especially considering where you are, is it hard to game? Like, is it limited? I know that in Asia overall, a lot of those gacha games are very, very popular. Is that also something that
Hmm.
you have encountered? Have you played any of those gacha games?
No, I don't. Not really. I'm just thinking. There's a lot of times like the only gaming experience I really have had in Asia that's been separate from the United States is how many times on the MTR, the subway or metro, whatever people call it. You see a lot of people playing mobile games. So mobile gaming here is huge, and I don't really do mobile games because I have to be on my phone a lot for my work. So anything I can do to get me off my phone, I'm happy with. Um, and then other than that, when I first came out to Asia, my friend was out here as well. We were working together, and we used to go to cyber cafes to play PUBG. Right, and it was still beta at the time. And the cyber cafes had computers that could run it because it was quite heavy. So we would go to the cyber cafes and order like I don't know what's the equivalent $10 dumplings, if that. It's like $5 dumplings, and we would just sit and play and play and play. And it was three of us all hooked in, and we would be shouting, and that was really fun. I enjoyed that. I don't know if they really have cyber cafes like that in the West. They must.
Yeah, they do. They do, but they
Okay,
are
they do. Yeah,
definitely
that
not
just
so
shows you how much you
popular.
know.
But they're definitely not so popular anymore because nowadays people have like much better PCs at home.
Right.
But I remember back when I was younger in my 20s, we used to go to a local computer gaming center, you want to call it. And those were like some of the best memories because, especially at night, there's like the third shift, like, and then we would say, "Okay, what are you doing?" Nothing. Okay, let's go, and we meet all there, drink some coffee, drink some coke, and just
Mm.
enjoy. Somebody's gaming. Many of them are not gaming, but we're just being there, and like that sense of community was something amazing. And you mentioned PUBG. I still remember my first chicken dinner. Like that's how amazing I felt when we finally achieved was like a squad victory. When we finally achieved, I still remember where we fought, how it happened, how we actually killed them all, and then like the chicken dinner. Wow!
Yeah.
So it's really something. Have you played any other games like that, like those like battle royale games? Was did you stop at
Not
PUBG?
really. PUBG, and then my laptop was pretty. I have a really nice MSI now. I'm really happy with it. Other than I spilled juice on it and ruined the keyboard, so I just ordered a new keyboard from Taobao, which is like China's Amazon, and I'm gonna have to reinstall it myself, which I'm a little bit nervous to do because you have to unpack everything.
Mm.
Um, but my laptop, PUBG, we went to the cyber cafe because it was like a few of us. We were interns basically, and we didn't have the technology. And then that's soon after that I started working at the bank, so I stopped gaming for 3 or 4 years. So Battle Royale, the problem I have with Battle Royale, so let's say I really want to get back into PUBG, now my laptop can handle it, is that there's a lot of people who've been playing nonstop and they're really good at it. And it's not that fun. You know, if I was to start playing CSGO right now, well, I did play a lot of Call of Duty too, but if I was to jump into it now, I'm not good enough to have it be so much fun. Where in PUBG in the beginning with that Battle Royale, because it was so new, no one was really good at it. So
True.
that was just, I loved that because we were all of a certain equal level. So I don't know, maybe there's a new Battle Royale that came out and I had more free time, I would probably join that. Because I love the atmosphere of it. I like the
Yeah,
competitive
it's really
nature.
good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
are you also a competitive person?
Yeah, yeah. I used to get in a lot of trouble because I had an Xbox. A good friend of mine gifted me his old Xbox. He had upgraded to whatever, the 360 or which I can't remember. I'm bad with names and I'm a bit frazzled because it's end of the day. But he had gifted me his Xbox. I had this old kind of ratty Xbox and I got Halo and I was so excited. I got the little dongle to connect to the internet. Was really excited. The amount of times I got in so much trouble with my parents because I was cussing up a storm anytime I was playing Reach or whatever where you have like 24 people and you have so many lives and you try to kill as many as you can. And my go-to is to say nothing. I would say nothing in the beginning, and I would get by the end I would get like a 10-point lead, and I would just start cussing the shit out of everyone and teabagging everyone. And I had a much squeakier voice at the time, so I'm like, yeah, you got teabagged by a girl, bitch. And I would be like, I was just such a freaking menace. It was so. I was definitely one of those annoying little kids on there, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed winning. But I think I did download it again, and I think if I am to play again, I'm not going to be anywhere near that good. I think I'm going to be bottom of the pack. So I'll probably just be quiet. But yeah, I used to be super competitive because like you said, how a lot of your good memories were with your friend. You go to the cyber cafe. In high school, my parents used to think I was out doing drugs or I don't know, trying to get laid or something. But in reality, I was at my friend's place, and we would all gather together and we would play because we had to have multiple consoles lined up because they were like bougie. So we had multiple TVs, multiple consoles, and we would all play Halo. So there was 8 of us maybe, and we were just ordering
Wow.
pizza, drinking soda. No coffee. We were too young at the time. But yeah, we were definitely a very competitive bunch. And I do
Wow,
miss
that's
that
amazing.
sometimes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
trust you there. So now a bit more serious question when it comes to gaming and women in gaming. Do you think it
Hmm.
has gotten a bit better? Or do you still feel that the moment somebody learns that you are a woman in gaming, especially in those lobbies, that you get called out, oh, go back to kitchen, oh, you're just a woman, or is it still the
I mean,
same issues?
I'm not too sure because it's never bothered me ever because guys are also saying shit to other guys. You know, like you hear a little
True,
boy come on the line and everyone's like, you know, I effed your mom. You know,
true.
like I feel like everyone's just mean towards each other. I also feel like it made me motivated to be really good at Halo. Like I definitely tried really hard because it brought me so much satisfaction to be yelled at when I won instead of being yelled at when I was bad. So I'm not too sure about that one because I'm a software engineer and I'm mostly male dominated. In the bank, I was probably like one of the few women working there. So I don't think I've ever been bothered by that. I would assume maybe it's getting better, but I don't know. Some of the live Twitches I watch, where the YouTube reactions or the live Twitches or whatever, the highlights, but some of the people say to some of the girls, I'm like, woof. I mean, that's a lot. But I would assume that a lot of guys who maybe have a dorky voice get the same treatment too, if that makes sense.
True, it does make sense. I assume also that the guys take it, I would say, a bit easier because, as you said, we're kind of expecting that type of behavior from males.
Right.
But it is a bit too much for a woman to handle sometimes because, and I will also assume that mostly males are thinking about how they are speaking to a woman. Because most of the time they
Mm.
maybe have some intention of something more, something, a
Right.
relationship
Oh
of
yeah.
any kind.
The amount of times I've
And
had people send me a friend request after when I was
yeah,
playing Halo and I would decimate them. And I'm sounding like I'm bragging right now. Trust me, if I was playing Halo right now, I would be decimated. Back then, when I was playing, I'd be number 1 or whatever. The amount of friend requests I would get from people who were just cussing me out. I mean, I always thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I felt like,
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like whenever guys cuss out a girl or something like that just because they're a girl, they're just lonely. Very, very lonely. I think there's a lot of
They
lonely men
really
out
are.
there.
There is,
Yeah.
there really is, there really is, and sadly, not many of them have ever had the chance to actually learn social skills because in the
Yeah.
end, it's just like a human talking to another human. And even though it is a girl, a female, I think it's also lacks the person lacks the social skills to even talk with a male because they do
Yeah, I
get
find
intimidated by either of those. So yeah,
right.
it's a
I
bit
find
hard.
guys who there aren't, in my experience, the guys who are rough and cruel, and even now on my social media, when I have guys who message me very sexually explicit stuff, and then if you look at their profile, they're not necessarily socially inept. They're not necessarily social people to begin with. I think they're struggling on all fronts. So
True.
I always, and again, I don't, it doesn't bother me one bit because they don't know anything about me. As long as like my parents love me, my friends love me, and I have my siblings,
True.
I don't care. You can say whatever you want.
Wait,
Like,
so
yeah.
so just to make it clear for everybody listening out there, so those unsolicited pics that you get, they don't make you happy. You don't wait for them like, oh yeah, finally,
Oh my
that's the dick I wanted.
Can you imagine? No, I think it's hilarious. Like, I had this group of girlfriends. Maybe, okay, if I say this, maybe this will end some of that. And this girl, she was really good at getting these unsolicited pictures, and I would send them to her. And she would have like a little party where she'd rate them and how terrible they were. It was so funny. We'd get wine and everything. It was so funny. But yeah, so I mean, to be it's I've seen a lot of pictures and not one have I been like, wow, that looks good. No, they all look like skinned chickens.
That looks like an
like,
organ.
yeah, like, ew, yeah, it's the man behind it that makes it interesting, not the actual organ itself. So anyways, yeah, we used to have parties and just throw it, but
True words.
make
So
it funny.
guys, just listen to this. The dick is not the main source of happiness.
I mean, it depends on the person wielding it, but
Of course.
yeah, it's
Of
just,
course, of course.
of course. But yeah, no, I can't think of anyone that wants an unsolicited one, except for maybe gay guys. I know quite a few of my gay friends who would love unsolicited, but I don't want to speak
True.
on
I
their
mean,
behalf.
it's a different world, I assume, with how the male brain
Way
functions and
different.
how sexually aroused you get and everything. But yeah, that's a totally different topic. So back to gaming.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of, I would say, critics about, and I'm sure you've seen that as well, about needing to introduce certain topics into games. Do you think that politics and real world issues, real world scenarios, have a place in games? That they need to be included like that? Or do you think that games should be left to the fantasy worlds as they are and not change them? It's a fantasy world. It has
Right.
nothing with the real world. So what do you think
I do
about
find
those
that
things?
I find it interesting because so I wrote this paper. I have a blog that I write because I do experiments or like technical articles where I write about some of the software that I work on. And one of the things I did when Midjourney first came out was if you give it a prompt, I wanted to make I made a little PDF booklet of diverse D&D characters because the people I play D&D with, we all have different attributes. And so I wanted to reflect that. And so I wanted to make druids and barbarians, blah, blah, blah. And they all came out as either really hench, muscular dudes, Caucasian dudes, or very beautiful baby-faced Caucasian women, and called it someone called it the Midjourney nymph or naiad or something, where she keeps reappearing. She has the same button nose, the same sort of chin and everything. She looks like she's 18, and it was really hard. This is maybe a year ago. It was really hard to generate a, let's say, I don't know, African American or a half orc, barbarian woman. Because every time I put in barbarian, I wanted to be a man, muscular man. And so it was just sort of fascinating, its default. And I worked really hard and created this pamphlet of like everything from, let's see, like half Asian to sub-Saharan African to Native Australian and transgender, all that stuff. But it was kind of fun. It was a little bit challenging. I do feel as if okay, so let's say, for example, let's take Witcher 3. So I do feel as if there, in some areas, there's a dearth of representation, and it's probably due mostly to the training data and what people are trying to get out of it. and I understand the technical aspects behind it. I do think it's a little bit dangerous to hard code certain things because I can talk for a long time about this. I did write like a 20-page article about this because it hard coded
Hmm.
ethnic diversity. And so when I put sub-Saharan barbarian, for example, it gave me like a woman barbarian next to cheetahs in the sub-Saharan grass with like headdress, like very interesting, stereotypical understanding of what
Uh-huh.
sub-Saharan was. And I was just like, this is so weird because, in my opinion, when you introduce diversity, you need to do it as if it's normal. You don't want to be like some of the TV shows I watch. It'll be like, look at this transgender character, aren't we special? And it's like, no, shut up. Like,
True.
just put someone in there, and how they present is how they present, and just don't even treat it as an issue. Just have it be completely normal. And so
Completely
one of the
agree.
things, so saying that, like, okay, if you're gonna have characters, just have them be characters, and don't even say anything or don't make it a big deal. The second you make it a big deal,
Agreed.
it's just annoying. Like, I just want to play my game. I want to enjoy my fantasy world. I don't care if there's someone that has an arm missing. I don't care if this person's in a wheelchair. Like, this is all part of life. But the second you make a big deal out of it and take away gameplay, that's annoying. And now you're just virtue signaling because you want a gold medal. Like, get out of here. I think it's appropriate. Like, you should have diversity and representation. Just don't take away. Don't spend time trying to pat yourself. Like, we don't want to circle jerk about how great you are as a developer when it's probably a bunch of white dudes sitting in the office in San Francisco, like, congratulating themselves on diversity when they haven't. I don't know. I could like rant a little bit about it, but saying that, Witcher 3 is a Polish game, and it was developed in Polish sort of, myth and legend and lore. And so the decision, let's say if people are like, our decision is to keep it, we want to hire Polish actors, we want to hire Polish ethnic sort of people and keep it within the Polish ideals. I think, or not ideals, but keep it within the sort of mythological framework. I think that makes
Hmm.
sense. But if you're going to, I don't know, add diversity, it's fine. I don't mind either way. But I can see where people are like, no, it's a Polish folklore. Why are you introducing a whole bunch of different people that wouldn't have been there? But if that's not the focus of the TV, because I know the TV series, there's a lot of issues with the TV series. If that's not the focus of the TV series, be Polish lore. And the TV series didn't stick to the story anyways, so do whatever you want. I mean, I was really disappointed with the TV series. I think I watched 3 episodes and I was like, you know, no way. Yennefer did not do
Yeah.
this. This did not
Yeah.
happen. Like, yeah. Because I read the books too. So
That.
I was really
Yeah.
annoyed.
That's
Really
also
annoyed.
why Henry stopped in the middle of it because it
Right.
was
And I
so
agree with
so
him.
far from the books. Yeah.
It's so far. And it's not, it's like, you can be far from the books if the narrative is true to the heart. And same with any diversity stuff. Like, throw in diversity. It's about the narrative that's true to the heart. Everything else on the skin surface or missing or disabilities or whatever, that's just what you put over the true heart of the narrative. So
True.
as
Yeah.
long as
Well
the heart of the
said. Well
narrative is
said.
good, that's all that matters.
Well said.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and I really like that approach and how you just explained it. Because even in real life, you don't walk through the street, see like a person who is disabled, and say, "Oh my God, disabled!" Nor does the person
Right.
say, "Oh, I'm disabled." It's a person. It's a human. So
Right.
why make a big fuss about it? And I think also the companies make a big step backwards into inclusion by propagating these things like, oh look, a gay person, oh look, a transgender person. Okay, you are creating a world. People are part of the world. Why you need to market them as if they are products, like
It's weird
human
to me,
beings?
and it goes
It's really
completely
weird.
against inclusion. Because so as a
Yes.
woman working in the bank, as a software engineer, and they would do like promo videos, and they kept putting me in front and center. I just like, put me in the back where I belong. Like, I
Yeah.
am a junior dev. I don't know. It just felt really weird. I was just because it's weird in the States. Obviously, I'm not a diversity anything, but in Hong Kong, I was a diversity whatever higher, not diversity higher, or
True.
diversity whatever edition. And so, yeah, I just feel like in order to be inclusive and everything, you just treat everyone relatively the same, and then and just live your life and treat everyone as the individuals that we all are, instead of I'm
True.
gonna treat you special because your sexual identity. I had people in the bank ask me what my sexual identity was, and I'm like, this is not bank talk. This is not what I want. Like, why? It's just to promote your diversity. It's weird. Like, that's very
It really
private.
is.
Anyways,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So
stuff is
one
great.
thing that happened recently, and it actually came from China, Black Myth Wukong. Have you followed up on it? Have you seen like the release of that game,
What is
Black
it?
Myth Wukong?
Black Myth?
Yeah, Wukong. Have you seen it?
Hold on. Oh my God, yes. Wukong as the Monkey King. Yeah, I did actually see an
Exactly.
ad for it. Yes. I have not. I remember I was on my Instagram just a couple of days ago and I saw Wukong. So I'm reading one of these books about the Monkey King in Chinese. And, I saw it and I am interested to take a look at it. Especially because some of the games, as I improved my Chinese, I like to play some of my games or put the subtitles in Mandarin. So anyways, I'm pulling it up on my laptop right now.
Cool.
It
Well,
looks,
one thing that I can tell you, it is most probably one of the best intro scenes I have ever played. Like, I'll tell you that much. And especially because you want to improve your Mandarin, your Chinese, you have the option to have it fully voiced in Chinese. So it's going to
which
definitely
is
help you out.
awesome.
And it is the first AAA game from China. And they have swept everybody off the charts, like the most sold game on Steam, Epic Games. I don't know, it's just wow. And you really do need to play it if you like those type of games. So it took ideas from software. It's not a Souls-like in a sense of being that hard like Souls games, but it's more like Ninja Gaiden, Metal Gear Rising. So it's more actiony. But the world building, I'm just at the start, like maybe a couple hours in. The scenes, graphics, it's just amazing. I really, really wholeheartedly recommend it.
It looks great. I have it playing. I have Steam on my laptop, and it's doing the little autoplay in the beginning. It looks really cool. I know the story. The story of the Monkey King is sort of a cornerstone of Chinese
True,
history and
true,
culture. So it would be great to play it because there's so many variations of the story.
true. So you as a freelancer, I assume that now you have a bit more freedom in how you plan your day out. But is it hard for you to find, as a freelancer, time to game, or was it easier when you were like employed, like full-time employed, I say 9 to 5, whatever? Because as a freelancer,
Right.
depending on your projects, your clients, it's all a bit different.
I'm thinking because I got into really bad habits during COVID. We were locked in our apartments for like 2 years, I'd say. So I gamed a lot then. And it was easy with the 9 to 5 job because I got paid the same. They seem to have forgotten about me in some ways. So it was really, really easy. So I got to game a lot and that was nice. But I would say with freelancing, when I first started, I ran out of money pretty quick. And I still have, what I did was I took a lot of my money and I put it into investments that I can't easily take out on purpose because I know what I'm like. I'm a little bit like, I struggle to delay gratification. So I knew I would just take the money and spend it and be like, I'll figure it out tomorrow. So I took a lot of my money, I put it into security or certain sort of financial vehicles I couldn't access. And so I ran out of money relatively quick, knowing I would. And so I started freelancing and some of the bills piled up and those kinds of things. So it was a little bit stressful starting freelancing. So I didn't have that much time for gaming, or what would happen was I would work really hard for, let's say, a week. And then for 4 days straight, I would do nothing but play video games. So I definitely struggle with that balance. I'm a much better balance now. So sometimes if I finished a project, let's say, I think about a week ago. And then I took half a day off and I played Baldur's Gate for half a day. Or I'll work for the week and then I'll say Saturday, no plans. I'm literally just parking myself in front of the laptop and I'm playing video games. And I'm quite lucky because my partner knows how much I need that time, and so they tend to leave me alone. They've even like organized their day to make sure I could stay in front of the computer and not
That's
do any
actually
work.
great.
It's very, very sweet. It's very nice, and they
That is
tend
really
to.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice to have because the previous partner I had during COVID thought it was a complete waste of time and would get really mad at me when I play video games. And then we broke up, thank the Lord. And then when I was single, during COVID, it was great. I play a lot of video games. So I'd say finding the balance is harder as a freelancer, but I feel as if the freedom to set my own schedule in the long run will be great. In the beginning now, it's only been about like, I don't know, three-ish months, maybe 2 months of working really hard. 6 months since I started, and then only really started working really hard the last 3.5 or 3 or 2 months. And getting the balance, finding it out, dealing with the stress, it's a lot. But I have a feeling that in 2 years' time it'll pay off. And that I'll have much more of a rhythm. So I'm assuming I'll take, if I had my perfect week, I would take half day on Wednesday from 12 onwards just to play video games. And that would be I would love to do like a Twitch. I don't know if anyone would ever want to watch it, but I would love to just sort of have a beer fridge and then get progressively more tipsy as I play. Just respond to people. That would be my ideal situation.
Honestly, Twitch was something I tried. And the only reason I don't do it anymore is because I don't have time. But I would love to do it. Especially because the biggest issue is, as I was growing up, I never had the money nor the opportunity to actually do Twitch streaming when it was like still getting popular. But now that I have both, I don't have time. So because I also freelance like you do, so it's quite difficult to say, yeah, I can stick to this schedule because I can't.
Right, I can't.
And
no, I can't
you have to be consistent with streaming in order to get any sort of following, viewership. But honestly, if you ever think about it, just try it. Because at least for myself, I can say I tried it. At least in that part, I'm happy because I tried it. I had some sort of following. I had like 15 people regularly joining, and it was amazing. I had like a very, very, very small community, but it was amazing. So definitely, if you have the chance, really do it.
Yeah, I would love to. I think my biggest concern right now is trying to earn enough. So I do have I just started an Instagram account to keep track of my freelancing, freelance life unfiltered, and I use it to keep track of how I set up my freelancing stuff in order to try to generate a certain amount of income each week. So each day there's like a goal of how much money to earn, and then how I go through it, and all. There's a lot of weird jobs out there, and my current highest paying job is YouTube script and narrations. I write YouTube scripts and I narrate them myself. And it was just like a side thing for fun, and it's blown up, surprisingly. People say they like my voice, amazing. Which is shocking. Absolutely shocking. My voice is a bit hoarse right now because I've been doing narrations yesterday and this morning. Yeah, it's wild. It's very strange, but wherever I can make a little buck,
cool.
You know? Yeah.
Of course. Why not? That's amazing. So before we end today's session, do you have anything to share with our listeners? Anything that, as a suggestion, as an advice? Maybe somebody would like to backpack. Maybe somebody would like to go into the freelance world. What would you suggest to them?
Oh gosh. Let me have a think about that one, because for anyone that wants to go backpacking, there's a really big world out there, and I would say make a loose itinerary of what you want to do, and then just book your ticket. If you don't have kids, if you don't have a house to pay, if you don't have any of those things, do it, because it's such a good experience and you learn so much. You learn how to stand on your own 2 feet, especially each country is just a new place and you have to sort of reevaluate and reinvent yourself. It's amazing. The reason why I say I have a loose itinerary is because I didn't, and I ended up just drinking on a beach in the Philippines for like 4 days straight, which was awesome, but I wish I had, more plans. I also ended up partying in Nana Plaza in Thailand for like 2 days straight and lost a lot of money, Lord knows where. And I just thought I would show up and be like, oh, I'll figure it out when I show up there. But you're already overwhelmed with all the sights and sounds, and to use Grab or Uber or how you get a taxi, and especially as a woman traveling alone. I never really had any trouble. But you just sort of want to have how you get to places done, because some countries is a lot more, like in India, it's definitely a different place to travel alone. So I wish I had a loose itinerary that I could have moved around or whatever. And then I think that would have made my life just easier and calmer. For working, especially for freelance stuff, I feel like just keep putting yourself out there would be my biggest advice if I'd go back and sell myself. Right now I do like Python scripts, I build websites, I have a lot of different streams. But it took a good... Sorry, I started 6 months ago, but it probably took 3 months until I actually started getting clients and started building up steam. And now I have too much work. Like, now it's a lot. But yeah, so those are 2 different things of advice. And then always save money. Save and put your money in investment vehicles, because inflation is absolutely insane.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you for those amazing words, Carrie. And once again, really thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking with you. I think we could go on for like a couple more hours considering your amazing life and how many things you experienced and how much we can talk about. So it was really great. Thank you for joining once again. And to all of our listeners, see you all on our next episode. Bye.